All right, everybody, bring it on to the channel. Former University of Miami Hurricane Michael Wyche. Mike, what you up to, man?
What's going on, man? Nice to see you again, man.
Yeah. Let's before we get all through the past, let's talk about the present. And you've got your own gear, which I like. I like the hat, like that going on. What are you
Yeah.
doing in life? What are you doing right now? Get us up to date.
Man, I'm a life coach now, man. Life coach, motivational speaker. So I travel the world on tours, speaking tours, speaking to people about life decision making and overcoming around the world, man. I get booked around the world.
So that we'll get into that in a second, but let's get into this journey for you. Okay, you and I met up when you were at the U,
Yeah.
and but I want to go before that. I want to start way back to your days in Virginia,
Mm.
uh, growing up, and what was life like back then for young Michael Weiss growing up in Virginia.
It was tough. I grew up poverty stricken. Uh, I went to like 10, 12 different schools growing up. Mother was, out in the streets real bad. Drugs, gun violence. That's all I seen growing up. So that's what I thought was the norm. I thought that growing up, getting you a kilo of cocaine was success. You know, um, that's what we seen. Those guys were um, our superheroes. We didn't know anything about sports. We didn't know anything about lawyers, doctors, all the good stuff. We knew about, this is what you had to do to survive, to come out early, and be successful. This is what you had to do to take care of your family.
Yeah, I mean, I can't, listen, let's be honest. I grew up in a polar opposite situation in the suburbs, that house on a hill, fence, yard, that whole thing. So the life that you're talking about is as foreign to me as I'm sure my life would be as foreign to you. And it really talks about the impact of the environments we grow up in, and the opportunities that we have, and how hard it is to make it out of those environments. Much harder for you to get uh, to the point where you're going to college and being recruited and playing sports at a high level than it was for me to get to college and doing my thing on an academic level, what have you, which says a lot about the country we live in and a lot of the issues that we've seen because there's such a divide. Um, so talk about your journey of trying to get out of that childhood you described, out of that scene.
Okay, well, first of all, before I was even born, my mother and father met by my father running in my mother's house, running from the police. He broke in my mom's house running from the police. What a love story, right?
Yeah.
That's how. So yeah. After that, she later found out after they started dating and all of that. She later found out that he was young, that he was only 16 years old. She was 37 years old.
Wow.
He lied to her about his age, and she eventually, got rid of him because of him lying, and then she found out she was pregnant. She found out she was pregnant, but she decided to keep me um, because she didn't believe in abortions or anything like that. It was just a mistake that happened, and here I came into this world, man. I come into this world, and she wanted to figure out a name for me, and she was a big time Chicago Bulls fan, and she named me after Michael Jordan. You know, she said I was. She said, my son gonna be special growing up. She said, and the only one that I know is special like that and that can work miracles like that. Because she said I was a miracle baby because I wasn't supposed to be here because she got her tubes tied after her last child, and she still ended up getting pregnant with me. She didn't even know she could get pregnant anymore. And so she said I was a miracle baby. She said the only one that worked miracles like that was Michael Jordan. So she named me Michael. And after that, my father went on and went to prison. He was a big time drug dealer. He's doing 40 years in prison right now. 40-year prison sentence. He sold a lot of drugs and yeah, it caught up with him. Um, me and my mother, we eventually moved on. She found this another guy. And he became very abusive. He became very abusive. Really traumatized me as a kid. Couldn't sleep well as a kid because I didn't know he was coming to the house drunk and beat up my mom and abuse my mom. So I was scared to go to sleep most nights. Um, I had to deal with that for a while. He eventually ended up going to prison. Um, and my mother was ended up hooked on drugs. Uh, so I had to stick with her and try to make sure she was okay. But it was getting worse and worse and worse. And we ended up homeless in a homeless shelter uh, and on the street, sleeping in cars, sleeping at parks. This is what happened. But I will say this: um, sleeping in cars, sleeping in parks, really molded me into like I can get through anything hard. You know, when we was out on the streets, I knew I could get through anything. You know, so it installed a toughness in me early. You know, she eventually we ended up finding somewhere to stay. These people was nice enough to let us stay there, spend the night there. And, I'm asleep, and I remember my mother waking up in the middle of the night, and she told me, "Hey, I love you. I'm gonna be back." I said, "Okay, I love you. I'll see you in the morning." And next day come, she never showed up. After that, never showed up. Another day passed, never showed up. Man, the people looking at me like, "Where's your mother?" I'm like, "I don't know." So they threatened. I heard social services, and I ran for it because I heard that it was about to call social services. I didn't want to, go into the foster system or anything like that. So I made a run for it. They eventually caught me uh, sleeping at a park, and after that, uh, I had to go with my foster mom for a while, and that was bad there. Saw a lot of in her neighborhood. That's when I got used to. That's when I got introduced to selling cocaine, and at this time, Beast, I'm I'm every bit of 12 years old.
Wow. You
I'm 12, and I'm learning the streets. I'm toting guns. I'm toting Berettas. I'm toting Glocks. I'm toting all of this to stay alive. I got gun graze wounds on my forehead from getting in shootouts. This was the life that I was introduced to early. Um, so these these old heads in the hood, they noticed that I had a hustler spirit. I was out there selling cakes and sodas and everything for the kids in the hood, and I go to Sam's Club and read back up. That's when I knew I was an entrepreneur, and got my money up to the point that I was able to buy some marijuana, which eventually led to me going to cocaine and started making so much money, going to jail or the detention home at the time. And I ended up in a bad school called CSEP. CSEP is really called Southeastern Cooperative Educational Programs, which Michael Wyche Gives Hope partner with now. Um, I ended up going there, and I found this mentor. Uh, he was telling me how much he believed in me, how much he loved me, and became a real father figure role to me. But I was getting so much money, I won't listen to nobody, you know. But he introduced me to the sport of football. I was in the ninth grade. I was in the ninth grade. No, actually, I was in the seventh grade. I was in the seventh grade, and I left alternative school, went to middle school my eighth grade year, tried out for football, made the team, helped the team win a city championship, then got kicked out of school again. Got kicked out of school again. Um, and then I went back to CSEP and did what I had to do, and eventually I led to Oscar Smith High School.
So you get to Oscar Smith High School, and you do your thing on the football field, and eventually you make your way after all of that, after every obstacle that was put in your way, you got to college, which, you know, if I think about the circumstances you went through, like the percentages that someone like you would make it to college would be, the mountain wouldn't be tall enough to show
Yeah.
how hard that would be, but you did it. And what did that mean? Could you even appreciate at the time what that meant to you, or no?
Nah, I was just trying to find a way out of South Norfolk. It wasn't even big to me. Like you would think that I would have the same mindset as all the other college athletes and all the other high school athletes, but I didn't, man. I was trying to survive. I was trying to. I was trying to escape from something, and and a mixture between football and selling drugs was crazy because I knew, in high school, these kids would go to camps and all of that. I had to fund my own camps. I had to fund my own football campaign. And the only way I could do it was to do it the way I knew how to do it. And and I won't giving that up. My mindset back then was I won't giving that up no time soon. Just like because that's all I saw. And that's how I knew how to make money. Just like the equivalent to Michael Vick, that's all he saw was dog fighting growing up. That's all he knew. So when I was in high school, I'm making more money than the educators teaching me. So, you know, I ended up playing football there, uh, helped them win a state title. I became a state champion. Um, so I feel like I'm on top of the world now. Like can't nobody tell me nothing. So after my high school career, which was really 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 good, all state, all region, multiple championships, state championships. After that, it was time to go to college. At this time, I'm making hella money playing, uh, selling cocaine. So I have to go to junior college. My coach is like, "Yo, you gotta go to California." I'm like, "What? California? Man, I'm not going to no California." You know. So he said, "Man, just try it, man. Just get out of Virginia, and just try it." I'm like, "I got everything popping here. I feel like I'm, I feel like I'm the man, and I was the man, you know." But I said, "You know what? I'm gonna try it." So I went over there. I took some of my guys with me. I thank you, but I took some of my guys with me to California. I had a great run out there. Became one of the top players in the nation. Uh, Still selling out there. This is what they don't talk about, But I'm gonna keep it real. Still selling drugs out there. I got settled out there, and all it takes for you to find one person. Hey, introduce me to some people that smoke. Never did drugs a day in my life. I just I was high off the money, So I met a lot of people out there, a lot of celebrities and everything, and they was making sure I was good and Next thing I know, USC come through the door. I'm doing so well, uh, and they offered me a scholarship. And I get a phone call that my mom is back in the picture. She's paralyzed from the neck down now, from having 4 strokes back to back, because she was on drugs, and they told her to stop using the drugs, or else it was gonna kill her. And when you're an addict, you don't listen. So that happened, and then the next week after that, my favorite teacher that helped me graduate high school, one of them that helped me graduate high school, she ended up hanging herself, committed suicide. Then my best friend, uh, my childhood best friend, I get a phone call from him the next, like this all happened in the same week. I get a phone call, he just got shot in the head on the
Wow.
front doorstep right in front of his mama. Then my grandmama passed away of cancer. All of this happened in like the same week, man. And I was done. But I knew I had a game to play because USC wanted to see me, uh, Oregon wanted to see me, so I went to the funerals, flew back, and I tell people all the time, you might go through some things, but you gotta hustle through the pain, baby. You know, your biggest break may come at your darkest hour. Period. And my biggest break was I had the scholarships right there in front of me, and I had to go take it. You know, so I went out there and I did my thing. We set a record that night, like 13 sacks in one game. The defensive line. After that, Lane Kiffin got fired, which was my guy. I loved him to death. I wish I could have played for him, kinda. You know, he was my guy, but he got fired, and that's what led to me opening up my recruiting process and ultimately going to Miami.
So you get to Miami, and through that process, who recruited you? Do you remember who recruited you from Miami?
Brendan Carroll, Al Golden, Jethro Franklin.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Um, so you make your way to Miami. Do they know about your past? Like, how much do they dig into you as a person?
Yeah, actually, actually, when I came on the visit, most of the time I was in there with what's the athletic director name? Blake.
Yeah, Blake James.
Yeah, Blake James. Yeah, I was in there with Blake James, and he was just asking me multiple questions about my past, and they really had to vouch for me, man. Hurley Brown really went to bat for me. Coach, what was his name? He at Tennessee now, I believe. Well, I don't even know if he at Tennessee anymore. Uh, he got his name. He was a tight ends coach though.
Well, Brennan
Larry,
was a tight. Oh, I know Larry Robinson.
was that his name?
I think
Coach
so.
Larry.
Larry, yeah, he ended up being like a coach for one game
Right
after
after
they
Golden
fired
got
Al. Yeah, yeah,
fired.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He was a great guy. He was a good guy.
Yeah, he was there. He went to bat for me. So all these guys were like, yo, we can really change this guy's life, and really get him on the right path. He's a great athlete, and we could do something special with him because the you missing a D tackle like him, right?
Right.
And so yeah, I ended up flying down there and meeting with Blake James. I had so many meetings with him about my behavior and my my off the field stuff. Like I ain't had no issues because I ain't never been in trouble for real with the law for real. It was just a bunch of stuff that I never got convicted of. You know, but he knew about everything. It was crazy, and
Right.
I just told him, man, this opportunity of a lifetime. I wouldn't mess it up, man. So he said, all right, cool. So he had me in there just seeing with my head. And then I went on the official visit. Duke Johnson took me around town and showed your boy a good time. I met up with Willis McGahee and all those guys and, you know, had a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get to Miami, and what do you feel about the way you handled that? Did you take advantage? Did you get the most out of that opportunity?
Well, in my eyes, I could have gave more, but I did do some special things. I became the first African American from Hampton Roads, Virginia, to play at the University of Miami. So that's big in itself, right there. I accomplished a whole lot right there. For my city. Being a man in my city, and ultimately going to the University of Miami and doing that. That was a huge, huge accomplishment. Being the first from my area to play there. Um, when I got there, um, you asked me the way my career went.
Just in general, it could be your career, your life, like just your time in Coral Gables. Do you think you got out of it what you wanted to, what you should have, all of it.
When I got down to Coral Gables, I was going through a lot mentally, uh, about my mom,
Sure.
about how my life went. I'm all of this. I was a father. Um, I had all this going on while I was, you know, uh, playing down there. Um, had a lot of things. My nephew, uh, his living situation. About him going to. I had so many people that I was taking care of, and just a lot, especially with my mom and my teacher and all of that. Everything just started to hit me at once. Like I went through a mental like breakdown, and I would say this: play wise, I wasn't able to give what I usually give on the field. Um, for one, I thought I was in. Uh, we was promised a certain defense that we were gonna play, and we didn't get that. You know, we was promised that we was gonna be getting off the ball, but when I got there, somehow I ended up in a offensive lineman stance on defense. It was weird to me. That was my first time ever doing that, and I came from a 3-4 defense. I mean a 4-3 defense where I was dominant. And
Right.
so at that time, I had to learn like a whole new defense, and I'm a junior college transfer. I got 2 years to show that I
Right.
can
You
play
got
in the NFL.
experience. Right. Yeah.
Right. So now I can't really just go. I gotta learn now. And it's like I gotta learn a whole new scheme. And sometimes any player, when you learning a new scheme, it takes a little while. It takes a little while, with the defensive coordinator wants you to do and stuff like that. Like we couldn't even swim in the defense. Like we couldn't even swim. A
And
swim
this
move was part of.
and this was when D'Onofrio was the coordinator, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't swim in the defense. We couldn't do none of that. Like you swim in the defense, he take you out. And that was one of my go-to moves at
Right.
East LA. I'd swim you and get a sack on the quarterback. So we just really had to me, Anthony Moten, Chad Thomas, Kendrick Norton. We really I heard what happened to him, and it was hey, I'm praying for him and his family. But we really had to change everything, and some adjusted, some got pissed off. you know,
Right.
I was the one who I'm man enough to say I was one of the guys who got pissed off. Because I was a junior college guy, and I felt like I didn't have time to learn that. I got a family to feed, and then after that, I brought my family down there. Me and my girlfriend wasn't seeing eye to eye. And this is the story that people don't know about because I never even really talked about it. Um, Me and my girlfriend wasn't seeing eye to eye, and my whole time that I was dating her, I've been in California. I've been in college, so I've been away from home. So I never knew how she was living with me. We don't know each other for real.
Yeah.
And that goes for any like a military guy or anybody. Like sometimes you don't know somebody until you really live with them.
Right.
and so she moved down there with me because she was having trouble. We were kids. She was having trouble with her living situation, and I said, "Forget it. Come down here and stay with me." And I had to make a father decision. So I got down there and I saw a lot of red flags that I didn't like, and I told her, I think it's best that we should co-parent. She got mad and said, well, if I can't have you, nobody can. And I'm like, oh, what does that mean?
Hmm.
Like, what's that supposed to mean? And so I sent her on her way. She flew back down. She flew back down, and and somehow got in my house. She made a key to my house while I was at practice, and somehow got in my house. So I come home from practice, and my apartment is tore up. Hey, look, hey B, hey look, my apartment tore up, man. So I go in there, I enter the house, and yes, I have a weapon in there. So I enter the house, and she's in my home. That I already sent her back to where she came from, and when I turned the corner, I didn't know she was in there. I thought it was somebody robbing my house because after I seen the house was tore up, I'm like, yo, somebody just broke in here. But I still hear somebody in the back. So I'm like, oh Jesus, I'm about to have to hurt somebody. Da, da, da. So I I go get my stuff and I go in the back. And I'm like, well, as I turn the corner, is this girl in there?
Right.
And I'm like, yo, what are you doing here? Like, what's going on? Why is my house looking like this? Why is my house destroyed? Glass broke, everything just destroyed. I'm like, she's like, I want to talk about our relationship.
Yeah.
Our relationship? So, so, so I said, no, there is no relationship. We done. It's over. I was heated. I'm like, it's over. We're done. Like, you need to get out of here. So I'm calling Anthony Moulton or Dion Bush to try to come get me or whatever. Like, and she said, she said, I own you and I'm gonna teach you a lesson since I can't be with you. She called the cops and told her I was holding her at gunpoint. So then the cops arrived. The cops arrived. I'm cool. But then they gotta take me to jail. I was like, why y'all gotta take me to jail? She said you pushed her against the wall and she hit her head. I said, really? I said, you know what? Fine. I'll go to jail. She said, they say one of y'all gotta go to jail. Because I was like, I looked at my baby girl and I'm like, okay, I'll go to jail. It's fine. Whatever. So they handcuffed me, put me in the car. They got kind of physical with me, you know. So I'm going through all of this. And they take me to jail. I'm thinking everything's gonna be fine. I ain't thinking nothing big. I'm like, yo, I didn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? Next thing I know, I get to jail. I'm all over the news, man. Face first, all over the news for something I didn't do.
Right.
So I'm like, yo, how do I supposed to explain this? I'm like, dang. I'm like, yo, I got my closest friends calling me after I get out. Dion Bush put me up. I got my closest friends calling me. Like, yo, your football career is over. Like basically like breaking up our friendship. Like, yo, I'm like, yo, just chill and wait. This is all gonna come out. Like, this is not true. I had to go, Larry Scott, that's his name.
Larry Scott. That's right. Yeah.
Larry Scott. So I had to go to Larry Scott's office after I got out of jail. And then I had to get prepared for court and all that. Cause I'm like, yo, I'm taking this to trial, man. I'm not like
Right.
so I ended up getting a lawyer, Larry Hansfield, and we took it to court, and they discovered that it wasn't true.
Right.
So now everybody's looking like, oh, this nothing happened. But it took them 10 seconds. Now it took the news They had a whole 2-minute clip when I got arrested,
Right.
burying my name.
Right.
But when it came out that he didn't do anything, um, it was 10 seconds.
Right. Of course.
So you're right. So I had to keep explaining this story, explaining this story. It was depressing me. It was like, damn, man, like, am I ever gonna get a shot at football again? So I went to Atlanta, started training. Melvin Bratton was my agent. Mel B.
Yep.
So Mel B sent for me to Atlanta, and I go to Atlanta and start training. Him and a lawyer by the name of Rory Starkey. Rory Starkey let me use one of his houses to so I could train and stay in Atlanta. Great guy, man. Actually, I'm in Atlanta right now for a speaking engagement.
Nice.
And I'm supposed to be having lunch with Rory now because everything's all good now, man. I just want to thank him for whatever he did for me. Um, so I start training, and then we get a call from Green Bay. Green Bay, I ended up going there. So I go up to Green Bay to the Packers, and uh, I gets to camp. I gets to camp, and this is when Michael Wyche Gives Hope LLC was born. I'm in camp. I get a phone call right before I'm about to go to camp. Winston Moss is there. You remember who Winston
Yeah,
Moss
of
is?
course.
That's my guy right there. I love him forever for what he did.
Unbelievable.
Yes. I get a phone call. My nephew that I was taking care of, that I'm a father figure to while I'm in college. I get a phone call saying he just got killed, shot and killed in his room. Got shot in the head. His friend playing with a gun in the house. The gun went off, struck him in the face and killed him. At that moment, I didn't even want to play football anymore, man. I didn't even want to play football anymore. And I went running crying to Winston Moss. I mean, I'm broke down crying. Winston Moss grabbed me and hugged me. Him and Coach McCarthy, Mike McCarthy. Um, Winston Moss said everything gonna be all right, man. I told them, I said, man, y'all don't know what I've been through last couple months. But I think I want to end my football career. Whether y'all keep me or not, I'm gonna end anyway. I'm mentally not into football anymore. Football was I think football was a driver's seat to get me to where I really need to be, and this is where I need to be. I said, Coach, I plan on going back and starting my career as a life coach and motivational speaker, and I think my story is going to help millions of people around the world. And they said, well, if you do that, you're going to be the greatest Green Bay Packer to never play. And I said, yeah, I am.
You like the sound of that?
I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
The greatest Green Bay Packer to never play. And I took that and ran with it. And every time I go on stage, I say, hi, I'm Michael Wyche. I'm the greatest Green Bay Packer to never play. Let me tell you my story. Everybody say first half. See, and I'm here to tell people today in football terminology that just there's a first half in football, there's a halftime, and there's a second half. The first half of my life was terrible. I saw my mother get abused. My friends got killed. Um, I was selling drugs. And people may look at me weird and say, well, Mike, how can you forget that girl that basically tried to destroy your career in football? Because if it wasn't for her, I'll still be selling drugs and cocaine right now. Because I was still running that while I was at Miami.
Right.
I was still running. I just had people doing it for me. You know, if I wouldn't if she don't do that, Mike White's probably be doing 1,000 years in prison. It's crazy how life works. So me going to jail, um, me me just doing things that I'm not supposed to. That was a bad first half for me. That was a bad first half for me. My halftime was going to jail, where I had time to sit down, reevaluate things, correct some mistakes, so I can go out there and try to win the second half. I'm in my second half right now. And my second half is Michael White Gives Hope LLC. And this is what started Michael White Gives Hope LLC. A fan, he wheelchaired 200 miles to Lambeau Field. His name is Dennis Schultz. And his goal before he died was just to see Lambeau Field. But when he got to Lambeau Field, he thought that was it. I took it a step further and brought him into the stadium and let him meet General Manager Ted Thompson. And he said that was the greatest gift in his life ever. And that's what my campaign was all about anyway, impacting lives. When I was at I was going to impact youth programs in Dade County on our off days to inspire kids. I always been about inspiring people. And what I did was turn my pain into purpose. So just because you have a bad first half, don't mean you can't have a legendary second half. And right now, I'm an award-winning life coach. I travel the world speaking about life decision making and overcoming. I am having a great second half. I got my own brand, and one of my t-shirts say pain is real, but so is hope. And the other say no luck, all hustle. That's the Michael White story. My pain was my mother leaving me, abandoning me. I felt like I wasn't loved. Uh, you know, what was my purpose on this earth? My father was already doing 40 years in prison. You know what I'm saying? All of these things. And now pain is real, but so is hope. That man Alexander, that mentor, gave me hope to go do what I do. But the rest of it was no luck. It was all hustle. And I sold 75,000 t-shirts of pain is real, but so is hope.
It's amazing.
Now I'm running my own business. I ain't gotta worry about nobody firing me and hiring me.
You're
But
your own
see,
boss.
hey, look, man, look. Man, I see the way these coaches getting fired in the NFL, man. I'm like, man, I ain't got time to be holding out because somebody don't want to pay me my money. I pay me my money.
Where's home base for you now these days?
Man, I'm in Virginia. I'm a Virginia legend. I gotta go back, you know?
And when you're back in Virginia, um, how much? Trying to think about the right way to word this. How much does your old life try to interact with you?
It don't. It don't. You know, they see me, my city see me as a motivational figure, a savior in my neighborhood. When I walk into a store, they're like, man, can you just tell me something to make me feel? I got people saying that they listen to me all the time and uh, I've stopped them from committing suicide. That's how I know I'm in the right place. And I
Right.
go back and forth from Virginia. I haven't been down to Miami since I've left, but I will return because I got some lives to change and save down there.
Yeah. There's no
I've,
doubt.
yep,
There's no doubt. Um, one comment, which is, and I've always known this, being around college football and athletes and all this stuff is I I would say about 0.00002% of fans have a understanding of what a lot of you guys go through when you're not on the field, right?
Man,
The average fan is like, oh, that guy goes to class, he goes to practice, and that's all they do, and they got nothing else going on. They're like just every other student on campus going to the cafeteria,
hmm
whatever. They have no idea about your background, where you come from, the struggle it takes just to get to practice, to make it through what you're going through, dealing with your coaches, dealing with everything else. And it's stories like yours that makes you think, man, there's thousands of student athletes out there, and we don't know the struggle they go through. We don't know what it took for them
yeah,
to get where they are. Some of those people are in the NFL. Some of them have chosen other places to go, what have you. But we don't know. We have no idea because,
oh, dude.
like, listen, the sports information department, the communications guys down there, they're not going to tell me Michael Wyche's real background. They're going to
Mm-mm.
say, hey, he won this award, he did this, he showed out at this camp. Here he
Yeah.
is. He's on the beautiful University of Miami campus, and life is great. But
Don't nobody know. I really want to take a gun and put it to my head and bloom, blow my brains out
right, like
and
I
end it all.
like you're talking about all these things that you went through by the time you're 12. I mean, like, uh, that's unreal to me. Like, I don't for me to fathom how you have made it. Do you understand? Like,
Yeah.
I can't even wrap my brain around that. But you did, and you're not the only one,
Nope.
right? There's lots of guys out there that have gone through stuff
Yeah.
and have made it, and we don't know about it. And I'm just thinking to myself, man, if we knew all these stories, like how inspirational it would be for everyone in this world to realize that it is possible to overcome the worst obstacles you could possibly face and still make it in this world.
Yeah.
You're the CEO of a company. You help save people's lives.
Yeah.
You make an impact. And it's after you've been through hell and back in order
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
And it's unreal to me, and it kind of saddens me because I sat in front of the TV last night to watch that national championship game, and I'm thinking about, man, Devontae Smith. He could be the best receiver I ever seen, and Najee Harris is, man. Look at the way he runs, or look at this quarterback, or look at that linebacker. I don't know anything about what they've been through or what they've had to go through.
A person like Devontae Smith, man, I'm gonna tell you right now, great player, great talent. Man, he showed out. He showed up and showed out last night. Um, but I don't know his family background.
Right.
But look at this. He could also be a kid that's playing like he got to pay child support right now because once he leave Tuscaloosa or
Right.
whatever it's called,
Yeah.
once he leave there, he probably going back to the jungle, and he don't want to go back there.
No.
So he playing like that because he don't want to go back there, not
Right.
because that he got great ability, but that struggle uh gave it a boost too.
Right.
You never know. He probably come from a good family, but I know a lot of guys because I partner up and I I speak at NFL players camps and stuff like that. Partner with the NFL PA guys, NFL player engagement. I speak to a lot of professional athletes. You got a lot of professional athletes that's in um, the NBA, NFL, that has an addiction with cocaine, that has an addiction here, that want to take a gun right now and kill themselves. I've spoke with them. I've talked them out of it. I literally talked some of them out of it. And I'm not gonna say no names because that's a liability. I
Right.
can't I
Yeah,
can't
of
do that. But
course.
yeah, but I have stopped countless athletes from taking their lives, man.
Yeah, when they say the struggle is real, it is. It is real.
They don't want to live. You got everybody coming after you because of what you got right there in the back. A big old football field with fans in there, and they feel like that you're just Superman. Oh my God, he tie his shoe the way I do? No shit.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, man.
No.
Hey,
Yeah,
so
I do.
so how can people find you? How can people get one of your t-shirts? How can people reach out to you?
You can go to michaelwhite.com, you know, go shop michaelwhite.com, go check out the website. You get on all social media platforms. You can follow me at CEO Michael White. One word, just CEO at CEO Michael White. And man, I'm having fun with it, man. Like I said, the pain is real, but so is hope t-shirts. I've sold over 75,000 t-shirts
Yeah, I gotta get me
along with the
one. I
travel.
gotta get me one. It just it just it rings to me, man. So I appreciate. Let me ask you this before we get out of here. You've accomplished so much.
Mm-hmm.
You've overcome so much. We just went through that. What's out there? Is there anything else out there that Michael Weiss? Is there another mountain you want to climb?
I want to be the number one motivational speaker in the world. And right now, Dr. Eric Thomas is. We've connected and we've spoke on numerous occasions. Great guy. Um, we have communicated through social media. He's a guy that I look up to because just like you anything you do, you got to find somebody to look up to. Like in football, at my position, you got to look up to Vince Wilfork. You gotta watch film on Vince. You gotta watch film on Warren. So when I went into the motivational speaking world, I had to watch film on Eric Thomas,
Right.
Les Brown, Inky Johnson. Inky Johnson was a guy at Tennessee for the Volunteers. His last game of the season, he's projected to go first round. He hit somebody hard and injured himself, and now he has a false arm. But he's one of the top speakers in the world. You don't know who Inky Johnson is?
Yeah, 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 no, I'm just
Yeah,
thinking about the injury. Sorry.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so yeah, so so my goal is to be the number one motivational speaker in the world, and I'm not gonna stop. I make a nice living traveling the world speaking now, but I'm aiming for the number one spot. I'm aiming for the top life coach in the world. I want to be, I want to be the Bill Belichick of life coaches. I want to be the Nick Saban of life coaches. That's what I want to be. I want to be
Yeah,
known
well,
forever for that.
you still a young guy, man. You got plenty of time to make it happen. And I think it will happen.
Yes,
And
sir.
and I can't wait to see that, man. Listen, thank you for being real. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for telling your story. I think it's going to help a lot of people. I really do, because I think there's a lot of people out there, no matter what aspect of life you're in, whether you're a 10-year-old kid living in Hampton Roads, Virginia, or you're a 50-year-old stock trader in Manhattan. You go through some stuff that you don't think you can overcome, but you're a prime example that you can get
Yes,
there,
sir.
man. No doubt about it. So thank you for sharing, and we'll be getting this out to the masses so that everyone that hasn't already, a new audience can see what CEO Michael Weiss is up to.
Yes,
And
sir.
I appreciate the time, man. I'm so thankful, and